Purpose of this video is to take a quick look at the different options that someone signed in as a board member would have with the new site. I've signed myself in here as a board member with that particular role, and then I open up the menu on the right side for the internal side of the new ABR site. And here are the options that you currently have. It's probably going to be some expansion of these options over time with different statistics and stats, which we haven't built into the page, into the system quite yet, but the statistics are being saved in the database, but the report, which is really easy to write, is something we didn't do. In any event, there's a volunteer video, which is the introductory video for all volunteers, and it discusses the external site and the internal site and gives a reasonably good overview of the things that are new and things that are that need explanation, need a little more information. In any event, there will be a board member video listed here shortly after we're done with this. Then you have the option here, as all the volunteers have the option to go into their account and their personal account, their personal information that's within the system. And it brings up what it looks like the volunteer application. It really is an image of the volunteer application, and you can go in and change your email address or your name and address, and this is all test information now at this stage, and then simply update the system with whatever changes you've made. If you've made a change to the email address, then it also automatically notifies the constant contact folks. And I think it seems like it's Michelle that also, as secretary, keeps another list, and they both get notified as to someone changing their email address. So a volunteer doesn't have to think about or remember to send 3 or 4 emails around. You simply make the change here, and it's automatically handled as far as the volunteer is concerned. So you need to encourage people to take a look at this when they first sign into the new system, and from time to time, just if something changes, make the change so everyone's aware of it. Then the internal home page is where we started. And this is where you get to, much as it says submit or update, only the volunteer editor and the page manager can submit dogs, and only those can make changes. Well, actually, the photo editor can make image changes to the images as well. But those are the only folks that can actually change the dog's records. But you can take a look and you can view it. Everybody can view dogs in pending, in public, in the other area. If you click other here, you will get these other stations or regions, as the case may be, and you can view dogs there. But let's just say in the pending file for the Northeast, let's say we want to see, and tell it to go find some dogs. And here we have these are dogs that are in the pending situation. Because you don't have the option to change things, you're really looking at an image of the public page, like the public page, where you have these other options. If you're actually someone who can make changes, you will see edit and history and images as options here. And so it's a little different, but then you go in and you can take a look and see all the dogs this way. And a significant change, 2 significant changes, the contact information here, when you're internal, on the internal site, which is behind the security wall, the information is here, straightforward manner, like it was done before. If you saw this page in the available dogs on the external site here, you would see just the contact button, so that the people those people want to send you spam or want to hack your email account or something, they can't get a hold of your information on the public side of the site. Internally here, it's just there available for a volunteer to use to contact you. And then the other thing that's significant here is that the date of birth, for someone putting in a dog, if they have the actual date, they click an option that says actual, and then they put in the hard date that's the dog was born, the date of birth. If they don't know the date, don't know how old the dog is, then they estimate the dog's date or birth. If it's 3 years old, then maybe you put January of 2015 in there. And then you click the option that says estimated. So the word estimated would appear here, which tells everyone that this may be a close date, but then it's just an estimate. We don't know how old that dog is. Maybe that changes when you figure out, get some paperwork, but this is different than it was before. And because all the this is test data from the dog from the previous system and database. Every dog's going to be listed as actual, even though it may not be the actual date of birth. Could be an estimate, but there's no way to go back and make the proper changes to all those older listings. Dogs that are listed after the new site goes live will have numbers from starting at 10,000, 10,000, 10,001, so forth. So if you see at 10,001, then and it says estimated or actual, then you know the person made the selection of it to tell you that it was estimated. Before the 10,000, everything's going to be actual. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the dates and the dogs. Internal home page. Also on the internal home page, we'll go back there. There's a new listing just of administrative roles within ABR, and at this stage, it's just those roles that were as they were relative to the website system. You may want to add some other roles like vice president or secretary, that kind of thing, treasurer. But these are roles, and what they're responsible for in this group of roles, people, administrators, it's so far just that for the website, so it says what they're responsible for and what they can do, and it's not flushed out entirely. At some stage, you might want to go through this and fill it out a little more and do it as you wish. But the idea is that we'll give some new volunteers a little bit of a rundown on the different roles. When somebody says go contact a state coordinator, then that'll give them an idea what that person does and is responsible for. The volunteer documents is a page where you see the contracts, the caretaker paperwork, that sort of thing for adult and a minor. You may want to add some other documents later on here. Easy to do. Oops, wrong page. I want to go there. Yeah, back there. And there's transport requests, which I don't know if you use anymore, but it's added to the system. And this is where this particular internal starting point, homepage, if you will, for the internal site is set up so that you can, here's the dogs, but then all these, you can have all kinds of other links and other selections listed here as you see fit. It's a good place for everybody. Right now, I think everyone who signs in comes here first. So it's a good starting point. Volunteer search. This is what the state coordinator and volunteer coordinator, Diane, have this on another search. This is just the easier, simpler search where you can just put in a name if you have whatever information you have about a person. Let's say it's Jones. You're looking for somebody named Jones. You can go and you can find people. You don't have the full-blown report to go through, but here you have different people with the name, last name of Jones. And you could put in, well, I don't know, I guess if we put in Sarah, I might have to reset it. I don't recall how it works, but so probably just give us Sarah. So you can it's a way to just get a quick email and go on from there. Then to search the Brits, this is not unlike it was before. It's a little more expanded. You put in this case is a dog ID that I remember because it's my dog. There are two formats for the report. You have to put in whatever information you want to search on, and then you put in one of two of these reports. because we didn't have it wasn't enough room to, in a way that's easy to read, to put all of the information that we have for the dogs in here. So we just broke it down to 2 reports. So you select whichever one you prefer, and it will then go look for that dog in that case. Now you have a number, and that is the dog that I have, which was named Captain. He's now named Cooper. Mike down in Utah found him for me, and I moved him to Washington. And here's how you can take a look at his detail. And the detail here is the listing. And so you can see a listing of the dog and the images and all the information that you know from before. And that's kind of how you do that. And then if we want, I'm going to go back and search the Brits in a different way here. Let's say, search on a name so we get more than just one dog. And we'll do this report. Should get a bunch of dogs named Cooper. Yep. And here you can go through and find it, look for a dog, and you can say, well, I just want to see him in a certain state. You come over here, and every one of these columns has a little up and down search state of origin. Let's say, where'd he come from? And you can search, well, there's no information on these guys. Search the other way, let's say, and you get state of origin, which actually here, this is going to be location. Well, let's do it the other way. And you're going to, oh, I'm sorry, I was looking for my dog, and but my dog would have shown here as Captain because he was named, that was his Brittany name. His current name is Cooper, so he doesn't come up on this report, so that's why I was confused. But in any event, every one of those columns with these up and down arrows can be searched in ascending or descending order. And then you just simply select the dog to see the information on the dog. And you can also search by things, just type in something if you want, search by that. Very straightforward. You can reset your password. Everyone has that option, and of course the log out option. So I hope this has been helpful, and it will be, we will now log out.